general guidance. So we're going to look at when and who to involve and what to say. And this is, like I say, just general guidance around that. So first off, who? I suggest working on a need-to-know basis. Think about who needs to know something and what they need to know in order to understand and support you or the children. For example, if an incident has happened, school needs to know to support the child. If you're injured, the GP needs to know in order to record it on your medical records and administer treatment. I would recommend speaking to the safeguarding officer at school rather than the teacher, because they're trained to support children in these situations, and they're also the ones that have better relationships with social services, police and other agencies. When? So as soon as possible after the incident. This is about getting support in place. What are you going to say? So stick to the facts which are relevant to the person that you are telling. So for example, the school safeguarding officer needs to know how the child was involved. They might then ask you further questions, but stick with the facts to start off with. So for example, Jane was upstairs and heard me and their other parent having a huge row which got very heated. It went on until the early hours and police were called by neighbours. Jane hasn't had much sleep and is very quiet. Rather than, Jane heard the other parent having a go at me and it was so awful the neighbours could hear how bad it got. Jane must be so upset she's hardly said a word. I appreciate that in the moment that is difficult, but the reason this is so important is you do not want to be accused of manipulating the evidence, and so giving the facts, they can't be argued with. Your opinion can. So stick with the facts and be mindful of how you present it. Keep a paper trail. Try to keep as much communication as possible in writing so that you can evidence it. So if you've spoken to, like I say, the safeguarding officer or safeguarding lead at school, follow it up with a quick email just to say what was discussed. Be honest and engaging. Your ex wants to alienate you from the professionals by setting you up as the guilty party. Working with professionals and doing everything you can to maintain a relationship with them ensures that you aren't playing into your ex's narrative, that the professionals get to hear both sides, and it encourages them to stay impartial. So let's work this through. So your ex goes into school and tells them the story of the argument and Jane, and you go in and you're all mad because you say, I bet they've been in and told you about what happened last night and I bet you're blaming me. That is going to fit into a narrative if they've been saying that you're argumentative or aggressive. However, if you were to go politely into school or ring them or email them and say, I wanted to update you on an incident last night. Jane's parent and I got into a heated argument and the police were called. I left the property and haven't seen Jane this morning, but would appreciate you checking in on her. That way you're not pushing them into taking sides, but you're giving them the information that they need to support Jane. Abusers like to cause conflict and they push people into taking sides. If you stay consistent and non-confrontational, your ex's coercive, bullying, distorted behaviour, it will start to stand out. Add this information to Evidence Tracker. There is a section in there. In the workbook, I want you to have a think. What are your fears right now about working with professionals? Let's get them out in the open.